Are you worried about someone close to you?
My husband is going through difficulties. He's become very tense.
You see, the issue isn't just that he got a little tense. The real problem is that he has a specific difficulty. He doesn't know how to rest properly. He works very hard and can't relax or release the tension. One side of the coin is that women need to learn how to care for a man in the right way to help his mind relax. When he comes home from work, he should be gently guided to take a shower to release the tension. Spiritual practice at home is also essential. True mental relaxation comes through spiritual connection. Were you at my lecture yesterday? Did you feel a sense of relief? Did you feel better?
Yes, I did.
You see, you're connected with your husband. Husband and wife are one unit. When you feel better, the whole family feels better. If you start praying at home and playing spiritual music, the atmosphere, which is very tense right now, I can feel it, will begin to lighten, slowly but surely. And his mind will begin to feel lighter too. Why do breakdowns happen? Because he needs to release that tension. That's why he drinks. It's his way of releasing tension. It's common for men, but real relief comes from the atmosphere in the home. You need to understand this. Some people think they can relax just by petting a cat. Put it on your lap, stroke it, and feel better. But that doesn't go deep enough, you see. You need to play spiritual music at home, hang icons or sacred images and so on. There should be prayer in the mornings. This helps to cleanse the atmosphere. Even now, as I talk to you, your mind is starting to calm down. And your husband is also feeling better. You're deeply connected. When a woman focuses on creating a pure and bright atmosphere in the home, help will come. But what I just told you, you haven't really understood it yet. You haven't, because most people expect something like, "Doctor, do something, just snap your fingers so he stops drinking." But that's not possible. A person drinks because he keeps building up tension like a capacitor, and then suddenly there's a spark, a breakdown, and he drinks. This is not a coincidence, it's a pattern. It's the result of a wrong lifestyle in the family. And it's the woman who sets the lifestyle in the family because she's the one who influences the atmosphere. A woman carries the energy of love. She can remove this tension. But right now, you're under the influence of tension. You're tense because you haven't been doing this work. That's the real issue. Right now, I'm helping you with this work. I'm calming you down. But you should try to do this on your own every day. And then everything will begin to improve. I know thousands of examples of women who changed their fate. For now, I advise you not to change anything in your home. Just start listening to one of my lectures every day. You don't yet have the knowledge. You don't know how to live properly. 2 days ago in Yekaterinburg, before coming to Ufa, I gave a seminar called The Law of Karma. All my lectures on the law of karma, that's what you need to listen to. Find them on YouTube and listen to them. Once you start listening, you'll understand what you need to do and how to do it. Right now, you simply lack the knowledge to understand how people's energies affect one another. Why does your husband drink? That's one side of the coin. The other is the system of subtle energy channels. A person has subtle energy channels that need to be cleansed. When they get blocked, they cause chronic diseases. There is one specific channel connected to the mind. Many other channels are linked to various organs and systems, but this one is related to the psyche. In his case, this channel is likely affected. It can be cleansed, but most likely the man won't do it. He doesn't have the strength or willingness. Usually such cleansing happens through fasting. To clean subtle channels, one can fast on raw food or switch to a raw diet, or simply observe regular fasting. Gradually, the mind becomes freer. You can also practice static exercises. They cleanse the channels. Breath retention helps as well. But he won't do that. The most effective way for him to heal right now is by changing the atmosphere in the home. If the home has a peaceful and joyful atmosphere, created even by one person like you, along with spiritual music, that will help. Then he will begin to relax naturally, and the drinking episodes will become less frequent. This pattern you've noticed will happen less and less. Reading a question. I've been living with my husband for 25 years. From the start, there was intense jealousy. After 5 years, it was found he has bipolar disorder. In recent years, it's been very hard to live with him. I can't decide whether to stay with him or get divorced. If it's your karma, then you should stay together. Who wrote the note?
I did.
Do you have a photo of him on your phone? No? What's his name?
Stepan.
I see. I believe he needs treatment. If he is willing to come to us, we offer a kind of treatment where we select specific types of tree bark based on the subtle energy channels that are affected. Then the person wears the bark on their back like a backpack. It activates those channels. When they open up, It works like reflexology. Such mental conditions gradually go away. It takes about 6 months to a year of wearing the bark for the mind to begin functioning properly, but the treatment is holistic. It includes body oiling, herbs, and many other things. For these kinds of problems it works. Even people with more serious mental disorders come to us and feel much better. Children with autism also come. This is how such conditions are treated. Independent efforts likely won't help much. The person needs real support. You don't need to divorce him. You need to give him a clear condition that you both go for treatment, because continuing life together like this isn't possible. Maybe he will agree, and then you'll have a chance.
I watch your lectures online and my life has already changed. I'm very thankful to you.
Thank you. You have wonderful people here, kind and open-hearted. You have a very good culture here, both the Muslim and Orthodox spiritual traditions. When people live and grow within this culture, their lives change in a powerful way. We must return to that culture. A life without spirituality and depth is a sad life. There's no meaning in it. All thoughtful people are now searching for something deeper in life. You know, what you wrote about your astrological nakshatra, that's not important. In reality, it doesn't have much influence. If a person engages in spiritual practice, there are no problems at all. You're just a little scared. The lady who gave me a flower, where is she? She's simply frightened by astrologers. You don't need to go to them. You don't need to communicate with them. You have good mental health. Everything is fine. You're just very anxious and sensitive. Listen to me carefully. According to my nakshatra, my moon is in a similar position. Do I look like a person in degradation or not?
No.
Why then do you need to fall for all this? Why do you think that this information should determine your fate? You have a strong Jupiter. Your moon also has a good effect on you. I don't see anything bad. You just have anxiety and sensitivity. All of this can be overcome through prayer. You shouldn't concentrate on the bad, but think about the good. These thoughts that you have a bad moon can simply kill you. Why think about this? You should simply think about good things, pray, set yourself up for a holy person, and gradually purify your consciousness. Why put yourself into a state of anxiety? As for your nature, yes, you have leadership tendencies, but you shouldn't get involved in that. You are quite a sensitive person. It's better for you to focus more on household duties than to run somewhere for work. You also have a natural curiosity and love for learning. That's what you should pursue. So a note, I'm raising my daughter alone. Her father lives far away and doesn't communicate with her. My daughter is 16 years old. She stopped studying, sleeps during the day, stays awake at night, doesn't respect authority, doesn't listen to anyone, doesn't know what she wants, and often argues with family. How can I help her find her path? This is the same issue I discussed earlier with the woman whose husband drinks. It's the same here. The problem isn't with the girl. Let me explain something important. Often we think a specific person is the problem. The same happens in the body. Let's say your knee hurts. What should you do? Some may think you should treat the knee, but actually when the knee hurts, it's due to imbalanced air energy, which causes tension. That energy gathers in the knees, just like water gathers to form a small lake. There are areas in the body where energy collects. It's like plaster falling from the ceiling, and we just keep sweeping the floor. It will keep falling. That won't cure it. You need to heal the whole body. Then the knee will recover quickly. The same applies here at home. If a girl is tired of studying, most likely she's going through a tough astrological period. My own child went through the same thing. She couldn't study. She had no strength because the planets were negatively influencing her. We simply let her rest for some time. She didn't go to school but studied on her own for a while and later continued formal education. Understand this, from this point of view, you just need to ease the pressure on the child. This fatigue, lack of strength, sleeping during the day, all of it shows that the person is emotionally drained. But this is not the main problem in the family. The core issue is that the energy in the household is not healthy. Overall, the home is filled with a depressive atmosphere. Adults don't notice it much because they're busy with work and focused on supporting the family. They have a goal. But children, because their intelligence is still weak, tend to absorb this depressive energy, just like a knee absorbs illness. What's the point? That all of this affects children much more deeply. Let me give you an example. Parents come home, the mother is chatting on the phone, the father is lying on the couch watching 24 Fools chasing a ball. They're all in a relaxed state. The child comes home from school and they yell at him, "Go study." But the atmosphere at home is lazy and laid back. They're all just enjoying themselves. But the child can't fight the atmosphere. What is intelligence? It's the strength that helps one rise above the surrounding energy. Imagine getting up early in the morning when everyone else is still sleeping. You need strong willpower to stay awake. You get up, but everyone around you is asleep, and soon you feel sleepy again and lie down. That's how the atmosphere works. It pulls you into sleep. Now imagine the family atmosphere is relaxed, everyone's just enjoying themselves, and the child has to study. How can he focus on studies? They force him. If he doesn't do it, they scold or punish him. And what happens to the child? A mental breakdown. He tries to fight that atmosphere. He needs to study, but he's just a small child standing alone against the whole relaxed mood at home. That's too much for a child. His mind starts getting damaged because of this pressure. At that time, adults should also engage in learning or doing something meaningful when the child studies. Not reading detective novels, but learning something serious next to the child. This helps. It becomes easier for the child to study next to mom and dad. All three sit together. The child studies, and you support him. At least try to start this process. Even sitting with him for half an hour helps. After that, it will be easier. He will get involved, and the home will have a learning atmosphere. If the house is always filled with depression, and judging by this letter where it says, "I'm raising my daughter alone," where is this woman? Yes, there's depression. I could feel it just from the handwriting. I can see you. It's pure depression. A person should not live in depression. They shouldn't think, "Oh, I'm alone, I feel so miserable." That's how you are living now. If a person thinks like this, they will never be happy. It's like a curse. You have to act. Start with yourself. Your daughter won't stop you or help you. Start with yourself. Start learning to wish happiness to others. Start caring for people. Look how dull you've become. Care for others. Wish them well. Do you have any friends?
I am already happy.
Your daughter reflects your happiness. You don't want to listen to me? Then I won't speak. If you don't want to listen, then why should I say anything? Your daughter is a reflection of your suffering. Change your life, rise above the depression, and she'll change too. Small children reflect the life of their parents. They show on the outside what's inside the parents. If you ask me questions, try to have the strength to accept the answers and take them to heart, because they won't always be pleasant. Another letter. How does a man create his family while separating from his parents? What are the principles? It seems that I, the wife, don't fully understand something. How should we build relationships between us and our parents? I also have a younger brother who is growing up. How are relationships built? A woman builds the relationships between us and our parents. Not the men, but the woman does. And a woman should try to love her husband's mother more than her own. Relationships go through the woman. At first, the husband's mother feels natural jealousy toward her son's wife, a natural jealousy. Because love in this world is not selfless, you need to bow deeply to it, humble yourself. You could say that, but it's not humiliation, just humility. You just need to behave the way she wants when you are with her. You have to become her junior. This will cause strong tension for some time, but try this. Start it slowly, and then she will accept you in her heart. Once she accepts you in her heart, it becomes very easy to build a relationship with your husband's father. Just visit the mother, and the father will relax on his own. Wise women overcome their fate with love, while foolish ones complain, cry, and get upset. You need to visit them bravely, bringing flowers and sweets. The first time is hard, the second a little easier, the third easier, and so on. You should always try to overcome your fate. When I went to Chelyabinsk, it was New Year with me and my swollen cheek. On the plane, I realized that before treating my tooth, they put medicine in and sealed it, but that medicine didn't work, and on the plane, I felt an abscess starting, serious inflammation. When I landed after a long flight, I went straight to a sauna, because a sauna removes tension and makes life easier. In the sauna, I started to meditate and pray and realized I had a serious inflammation in my upper jaw. It affects the eyes. It's a serious problem with the upper teeth. Within 3 hours, I was at a good dental clinic. A team of doctors gathered because the infection had spread to the bone. There was a cyst in the tooth and the infection reached the bone, but while praying in the sauna and sitting in the pool, I prayed and saw I could overcome my fate. I could overcome all this. The doctors said they needed to pull the tooth and cut the gum. This meant goodbye to lectures for 3-4 days. I wouldn't be able to speak at all. No chance. The doctors didn't even try to open the filling because they said it was useless. The infection would remain. It had already spread upward. It didn't go downward. We came home and Igor, my assistant, simply removed the filling and pulled out the cotton. With a needle, he dug out all the blockage, pulled out the cotton, and we began treatment with aromatic oils, antibiotics, and painkillers. For 2 days it was touch and go. The infection went upward and my eye swelled. By the second lecture in Yekaterinburg, I looked like this, but then I started steaming it, soaking in hot baths, and praying all the time. Why prayer? Because prayer shows whether I can help myself or not. At any moment I could have gone to open the gum, place a drain, and pull the tooth. It was never too late to do that. I just saw in prayer that everything would be okay, everything would be fine. My victory over my fate was inside me. And on the last day in Yekaterinburg, I realized we were winning. My cheek was still swollen, but victory was near. I felt that we were winning. From a classical medicine point of view, you could say, I was crazy, because if the infection goes into the bone, the maxillary sinus gets involved next, and then anything can happen, even the eye. This is scary from a practical medical point of view, but I overcome illnesses through the power of my spirit, not logic. Simply by the power of my spirit, I defeated this illness. Look, this cheek is normal, no problems. When you come to me crying that everything is bad and you're depressed, I know how to overcome it, but I can't live your life for you. This is overcome simply through prayer. You start every morning by wishing happiness to everyone, even if you have no faith. If you have faith, then read prayers according to your belief in front of an image of a holy person, and off you go. The moment you feel lightness in your heart and a sense of victory, at that moment, on the subtle or psychic level, your problem is already solved. And the knowledge of what to do will come to you. When I defeated fate through prayer, we found the right medicine to place under the gum, found a method, and it turned out that in Yekaterinburg, hydrogen sulfide water flows in the bath. The tap doesn't flow with ordinary water, but with hydrogen sulfide water, like in Essentuki. People think it's bad water, smelly, they don't even want to wash their hands with it, but I soaked in the bath and it helped me. Because it's healing water. It has healing power. All these coincidences show the power of prayer. When a person prays, their heart guides them where to go and what to do. So it's very important to understand this principle. When you tell me nothing will work out for you, that everything is bad, that your husband drinks and nothing can be done. This just shows ignorance in these matters. I gave you an example from just 3 or 4 days of my life. I have thousands of such examples where fate is overcome through inner life. Thousands of examples, this is just one of them. The tooth is fine, and the doctor treating me in Krasnodar said we will save it. Everything will be fine if you have the desire to win. No need to bring notes. I'll continue the lecture. Now we have an important topic. Yesterday we briefly covered the main points of human constitution related to purpose and personality types. Because this is actually a very complex topic, now I want to talk with you about how to truly reveal yourself. What I told you was theory, but there is something truly important to know, and it really works. This system works and brings victory. If, of course, you invest your energy into it. The first thing we need to understand is that every person has a goal in life. Now we will talk about the activity of the mind. When we talk about the mind and its activity, we need to understand one thing. The mind is a force that directs life in a certain path. Most people don't think about how their life flows, but when life cracks, when things get bad, when a person doesn't know what to do anymore. For example, yesterday several people raised their hands and said they are under terrible stress. During consultation, one woman also found out she is living in stress. The cause of stress is when life's threads break, a person gets lost and doesn't know what to do next or how to live further. The reason for this loss is that most people choose their life goals spontaneously. They have no education or knowledge about how to choose a life goal and don't understand how important this choice is. I will give classic examples of how a person's life thread gets broken. For example, a woman gives birth to a child and takes him into her arms. A power of happiness flows from the child that is so strong, it naturally makes the woman put the child as the main goal of her life. She says, "Oh, this is the main purpose of my life. From now on, I will live for this person." Because when she thinks about this child, she feels happy. The reason she feels happy when thinking about the child is simply because nature made it this way. The child needs to survive. For the child to survive, he must attract his parents' hearts and bring them joy, but that doesn't mean the child should become the ultimate goal in life. Look what happens next. If a mother sees her child as the highest purpose in life, she expects to receive everything from him. And how does she raise and teach him? She wants to enjoy the process. If the child throws tantrums, she suffers greatly and feels terrible. Because this is her life goal. And a life goal shouldn't act this way. It should always bring happiness. If the child misbehaves, the mother gives in to him because she simply can't help it. If the purpose of her life doesn't behave the way she wants, she feels she must surrender to it because her entire life depends on it. Gradually, the mother begins to idealize her child. He becomes not just a child, but an indigo child, or a prodigy, or she imagines something else special about him. She believes he's the one and only truly unique person in her life, but in reality, due to constant attention, the child simply becomes spoiled. When we treat a child like a god, he begins to see himself the same way. He doesn't have proper understanding, no real reasoning yet. It's true that when a child is born, karma doesn't act through him, so we can't see any faults in him. He seems completely pure. This is how nature arranged it. Karma begins to act around the 2nd or 3rd year of life, grows stronger over time, and becomes very powerful in old age. That's why the child appears to be holy, as if he has no flaws, and he truly seems pure. That's why the mother loves her child so much. She sees this purity from birth. But that doesn't mean he's absolutely pure. It's just the outer expression of his early life. With time, you'll start to notice many different things. When a child turns 13, karma becomes very active, and parents often don't recognize their own child anymore. And the woman who made her child the purpose of her life at 13, when he begins to slowly turn away from her, which is inevitable. Because if she made him her life's purpose, she constantly wants him to think about her, to take care of her. She keeps drawing him to herself, especially if it's a boy. But a boy needs freedom to grow. He cannot develop while being constantly under female control, so he starts to break away from the relationship. He runs from his mother. He can't stay in close contact with her for long, because it becomes suffocating. She won't let him live freely, yet she calls this love. Then she begins to suffer severe emotional stress. She feels like she's losing her child because he simply cannot live under such constant attention. She still wants to enjoy being close to him, but he's entering a new phase of life. He no longer wants a close emotional connection with his mother. He's interested in some girl now. It's goodbye to all of that. The mother feels abandoned and alone. By this time, such mothers have usually already lost connection with their husbands. I'll explain why. A woman's energy of love should be shared among all family members, but the greatest share must go to her husband because he needs it most of all. A child receives happiness from everyone, grandparents, uncles, aunts, men and women alike. He is surrounded by love from all sides, but a husband receives happiness only from his wife. Try to understand this. If a woman directs all her emotional energy only to her child, and if he becomes her life's highest goal, then the husband is left out. She practically forgets he exists. Do you think a man can stay in such a situation for long? No, he tries to draw her attention back to him, but she doesn't care. She's getting joy from the child and is fully focused on him. The husband doesn't matter anymore. Eventually, the husband leaves. This often happens when the child is around 2 or 3 years old. The man walks away from the family. It's a classic case. The woman bonds with the child and the man is out. Why? Because no one is giving him attention. He feels unwanted. Let me give you a classic example. I was about 12 when I visited one of my mother's friends, a textbook case. The man didn't leave the family, he just drank himself into alcoholism. I'll tell you how she treated him. When I came to their house, she looked at me and said, "Honey, I'm so happy to see you." Then she took an apple from the fridge and offered it to me. I said, "I don't want it." She said, "Please eat it, son, or Volodya will come and the apple will be wasted." Volodya was her husband. "The apple will just go to waste. It won't be used properly. But if you eat it, it'll be used as it should. If Volodya gets it, it'll be wasted." That's why Volodya drank, because his wife didn't need him. She just needed his salary. That's all. That's the root of the problem. It's what happens when life's priorities are set the wrong way. When a woman focuses only on the child turns into an egoist, and the husband leaves the family. Fun, right? Then some women decide to make their husband the center of their life. They listen to my lectures and go to the other extreme, acting completely submissive, doing everything for him. And he's also listened to the lectures, so he knows how it's supposed to be. He helps her become that way. But then some strange things start to happen. He says, I think I was meant to have a more spiritually developed wife than you. You act this way around me because I'm a higher level person. You're not on the same level as me. So I can't be happy with you. And she suffers terribly. She can't help herself because to her he is her life's purpose, her dream. And then this dream leaves her for another woman. One lady came to me and said, "We have 2 children. I'm very low, very sinful, and my husband is so noble and elevated." I said, "That's great. You see yourself in such a pure way. She replied, "But my husband has now found someone more spiritually elevated." I said, Wait, what do you mean, more elevated? A decent man doesn't leave his family. He doesn't go looking for someone more elevated. She said, "You don't understand. Our case is special. I was never good enough for him. He always told me that, and I agreed. It's only fair. He found someone who is good enough." I said, "Do you hear yourself? That just means you trained him to treat you like this. You behaved in a way that made him feel entitled. He became arrogant." She looked at me and said, "But I always thought it was the opposite." Then she added, "But I still consider him a very elevated person." I looked into her eyes and asked, "Who do you believe in, God or your husband?" She got embarrassed and said, "I think in God." I said, "I think you believe in your husband." She began to wake up. She realized what had happened. She had ruined her life. This kind of intense, passionate love, when someone starts worshiping their partner like a god, it always destroys the relationship because no one can handle being worshipped like that. How many of you have felt this, when someone was so obsessed with you that it felt suffocating, even painful? Raise your hands. Could you live with this person? No way. You want to get away from them, but they cling to you, whining and pestering. It's a nightmare. A person shouldn't be the purpose of your life. A person can't be your life's purpose. A vacation home or a house can't be your highest goal either. If your house is the top priority, you'll be building it nonstop, always thinking about it. Because if someone offers you a loan, you won't even properly calculate whether you can pay it off, or you'll miscalculate. And then the so-called fun life begins. The fun life starts when the house becomes the main goal in a person's life. They can't live without it. It's their dream. The problem is that's not the goal you should be setting. Then comes the terrible stress when the person doesn't just fail to get the house, they end up selling their current home just to pay off debts. The reason? Not understanding what the purpose of life really is and how to handle it. It's a dangerous thing that can ruin your whole life. Why do I emphasize this so much? Because it's directly connected to today's topic, a person's true purpose. Now we'll go over goals that truly help a person grow and goals that should be considered secondary. There are different levels of goals, and you need to invest in them differently. The vital, highest goal in life is love for God. Nothing tops that. You have to understand that all power to overcome destiny flows from holiness, from the divine. That's why I was so sure I'd heal my tooth, that there'd be no problem, because at that time I was connected to that power. It first gave me peace. On a subtle level, it overcame that issue. Then it gave me the knowledge of what to do. Every step I took was right. I made no mistakes during that tough time when the infection started spreading upward. Here's the main idea. There are things that truly help us overcome fate. Let's say I make my son my highest goal. Life gets tough, and what am I going to think about? About my son. But my son doesn't have the power to solve my problems. Or if I set my house as my highest goal, when things get hard, am I going to turn to the house or to my wife? This kind of system doesn't work. The highest goal is one that gives strength. It gives you the ability to survive. There has to be some kind of power that makes survival possible. That's the true highest goal in life. When intelligence focuses on that highest goal, all other goals draw their energy from it. The Vedas compare it to watering the root of a tree. When you water the root, water spreads everywhere. It flows down to the branches, to the fruit, and so on. Does it make sense to water each branch separately? Nothing absorbs there. Absorption happens at the root. In our psyche, there's a similar system, right here in the heart area. It's like the central vessel of life force. People come and say they feel something in this area. Dr. Torsunov, I feel really good right here. Yesterday we repeated, I wish everyone happiness. Raise your hand if you felt good right here. That's exactly the area where everything is nourished. And what is nourished? Now, the lady in the third row, you raised your hand. Let's talk. I feel like someone on your father's side is having a really tough time right now. Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
You just said you feel better now, and I saw your energy going there. Did you notice that? No, and you won't know, because these are subconscious things, you understand? Subconscious. You can't understand them yourself until you see the results. Some people do this. When a relative is unwell, what do we start doing? We think about that relative. Why do we think about them? Because we feel drawn to them. Our strength is being pulled away, and our psyche is attracted there. And that's despair, because when a person starts obsessing over a sick relative, they get stuck in a loop. Fate drains their energy and soon you run out of strength too. Now both of you are drained. Then a third person gets caught up, then a fourth. Soon the whole family is walking around exhausted. Ancient teachings advise a different approach. In such situations, you need to focus on holiness. Forget about your relatives because they will drain your energy. Don't dwell on it. Focus on holiness and just pray. And when you pray, feel the power and victory right here. First, you'll feel relief. You won't be drawn there anymore because the energy flows on its own and everything's fine. Then you'll start to feel that everything will be okay with them, and so on. Actually, I'll tell you what happened to my tooth. The day I realized I couldn't handle it myself, I called my medical center. I have 50 people working there, all trained in how to pray. I said, please gather in the morning, start praying. I don't have the strength to overcome this. I felt like my lectures would be canceled because my cheek was so swollen, and I wouldn't be able to do anything. The whole program would fall apart. So they gathered in the morning, 50 people, and prayed together for 2 hours. After 2 hours, my swelling started to go down. You see how the system works?
You have to have your own center.
You have your own center. It's right here. They each tuned into their own mentor. At first they remembered me, then forgot, because they didn't have to think about me. We are connected. They focused, set themselves for prayer. We've done this many times for different reasons. For example, one person developed gangrene in his leg as a complication of diabetes. We prayed like this for about 4 hours, and the gangrene stopped. At the hospital where he was being treated, the doctors said it was the first time they'd seen gangrene go away on its own, and the leg didn't have to be amputated. Illness starts on a subtle energy level. If the body has the strength to defeat it there, it can easily overcome it on the physical level later. Any disease can be overcome this way. What we're talking about now is a method to overcome fate itself, and from the perspective of one's life purpose, it's the same thing. Like in that cartoon where the water spirit says, I'm a water spirit, nobody likes me, all my friends are leeches and frogs. That's misdirected energy. The story ends with the water spirit feeling good because he finally redirected his energy correctly. The point is, a person must understand how to set priorities in life. Where is my energy going right now? If your energy goes to a sick relative, then both of you will run out of strength. A drowning person can't save another drowning person. You need to find the source of energy that will sustain you for your whole life. That is called the highest purpose in life. Energy flows through intelligence. Intelligence feeds the mind, and the mind distributes energy in all directions. Here's what's going on. You're getting fired. That's where your energy is going, right? To the factory director. And what is needed? They just need to forgive. That's it. But to do that, you need mental strength. I'm supposed to help all of you at once now. Do you think I have that kind of power? Of course not, but I have a mentor I constantly think about, and he's thinking about his own mentor. And so the energy moves upward toward God. That's what allows me to help so many people. It's no longer a problem because I'm not relying on my own strength. There is a highest purpose in life. What is it? It's the energy that gives a person the ability to act. First, to gain peace in the heart. Peace means the situation is already resolved, that the balance has tipped in your favor. Next comes knowledge. For example, you don't know what to do with your life and how to live. That means your mental energy is trapped in a space with no way out. If there was a way out, you'd already know it. You're stuck in a maze. You understand? To find the exit, a person must grow energetically. They need to step out of that enclosed space. They need to surface. At least their head, so they don't drown down there. There's only one way to do this, by connecting with pure power, the highest power. Usually most teachers say, come to my tradition. But I don't recommend you go to someone else's tradition. Stay where you are. Everyone has their own faith, their own sense of holiness. One person has one culture, another has another one. And some just have their own unique feeling. Stay on your own wavelength. Don't go anywhere because everyone has already found what they needed to find. But if in your understanding of holiness there's no sacred object to worship, then that's the wrong path. You need a sacred book. You need either a book or a mentor, or the name of God, or a holy place. Something must be there. You have to direct your inner strength towards something you believe in, because divine energy flows through someone. Because when I'm feeling bad, I can't tap into my divine energy on my own. I need help. That's how a person should act. So what are vital goals? We've just talked about the highest goal in life. Vital goals are the goals that support the achievement of life's main purpose. Vital goals are the goals that help develop your personality. Personality development is essential. What you're doing now, attending lectures, that's personality development. It's vital. Life without this just isn't possible. A person needs to gain knowledge on how to live. Otherwise, there's no real life. Knowledge gives you the ability to take action. Who here got up early this morning? That means you receive strength. You already feel inspired to live. This doesn't happen by chance. Next, you need to maintain mental and physical health at a high level. First comes personal development, learning how to live, and then practicing the right way to live. There are several paths that change your destiny. The most important one is communication. When a mentor appears, when you engage in elevated communication, a person's life can change dramatically and very quickly. Where do you go to relax? Maybe to some islands. I keep dreaming about islands in amazing countries. But what will you really see on those islands? Bare backsides, a game of billiards, some beer, cheating on your wife, and then you'll go home drunk and having made more mistakes. Will that really help you keep going? No. Some people take trips to holy places. Now let me share an interesting story. A friend of mine runs a medical center right in the heart of Moscow, just near the Kremlin. We met on a TV show once. It was an old, wholesome show where people gathered to discuss different topics. That day, the topic was methods of treating incurable diseases. Several doctors were there, and I was invited too. We were talking about what to do when someone falls seriously ill. This woman shared her story. She had a disease considered incurable. All the best specialists in Moscow treated her, but no one could help. She realized no one could save her. So she started praying, just simple prayers to God. And get this. One night she dreamt of a monastery guest house somewhere in Europe, a place she'd never heard of before. The dream told her that if she stayed there and attended services at that monastery, she'd be healed. She immediately looked it up online. It was real, not some fantasy. She took time off work without hesitation. She was running that clinic, so it wasn't hard for her to get leave. She flew to Europe, stayed in that monastery guest house for 2 weeks, and the disease went away. When she returned, her tests were normal. That's what I heard firsthand from her. That's how the system works. The system operates through your inner life. Every morning when I wake up, I spend about an hour and a half doing certain exercises. During that time, I silently recite prayers, because the best way to get into the right mindset while exercising is through prayer. I hold each static pose for 10 to 15 minutes. I wait until I feel completely relaxed, because most of my ailments are focused in the bones and muscles. I need to overcome them through these exercises. While doing these exercises, I can actually sense not only my body and mind releasing tension, but also where the original source of strain is coming from. Every day I cleanse my subtle energy body through these exercises. There are several methods that help purify the mind and body, helping to overcome chronic illnesses. One of these methods I already mentioned, Hatha Yoga, where you hold a posture for a long time. At first it's painful. Then the body gets numb and gradually relaxes. When full relaxation comes, warmth spreads through the whole body, warmth and relaxation. At that moment, the subtle channels are cleared and you can move on to the next exercise. When you pray during the practice, the energy flows from above and it becomes easy to do. I've tried practicing without prayer. It doesn't work. Yoga literally means connection. Yoga is a connection with something higher. The next practice is breathing exercises. You hold your breath on inhale and exhale. This practice is called Pranayama. Holding your breath clears the subtle channels. It also improves your mental and physical health. Another important practice is fasting. It also helps overcome fate. Fasting on Sunday changes your social standing. Fasting on Monday changes your personal life fate. Fasting on Tuesday strengthens your willpower and ability to break through fate. Fasting on Wednesday improves your relationships with others. Fasting on Thursday gives you clarity on how to develop and move forward in life. Fasting on Friday helps you overcome depression and brings happiness. Fasting on Saturday helps overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles, prison, court cases, gossip, debts, and so on. When a person fasts on religious holidays, they receive God's mercy and become more fortunate in life. There are also special fastings that help overcome specific challenges in one's destiny. These are also religious fastings. Every religious fasting indicates what you will achieve by observing it. What is fasting? It's when you don't expend the body's energy on unnecessary things, because going to the toilet drains much of the body's energy. By fasting, you conserve that energy. And since you already know where that energy needs to go because you have a problem that's draining your strength, fasting redirects your body's resources to that problem. It's a simple system, and it also supports health. These three practices, fasting, static exercises, and pranayama, are the main methods to cleanse the body from severe, incurable diseases. There are also other practices that help overcome various issues. For example, running helps overcome chronic fatigue. Walking in the forest defeats depression, mental weakness, and inability to summon strength. Living in the mountains frees you from the burden of responsibility and the heaviness of life. Spending extended time in water helps one harmonize with the world and acclimate more easily. Whenever I take a long flight, I go to a sauna, then sit in the pool and steam room. The water relieves tension on one hand and helps me acclimate to the new place on the other. All these are vital goals that sustain life. They help maintain physical and mental health. What does this mean? First, personal development. Second, learning how to live right. Third, proper nutrition and health-supporting practices. It's also important to know that a vital goal is to purify your relationships. Every evening, a person should make themselves ask for forgiveness and forgive those people and events with whom they have negative ties. You're in bed falling asleep and Mr. Johnson, a bad person, appears before your eyes. You have to forgive him, otherwise you'll keep getting sick. All severe incurable illnesses feed off these negative connections between people. For example, a husband leaves, abandoning his child and wife. It's important to know that until the woman forgives him, she won't find another partner, because there are positive attachments and there are negative attachments. That's hatred. As long as she's tied to that person, no one else will come into her life. Forgiveness is necessary, and it's not something you do right away. Forgiving takes strength. A person aligns themselves with a higher being, a holy place or sacred scripture or a holy name. For example, the Quran has specific prayers that guide you on what to focus your mind on. Each prayer holds a key to victory. If you tune into that prayer, that phrase, then victory becomes inevitable. All spiritual paths have such keys. For instance, in Orthodoxy, there's St. Nicholas the Wonder Worker and St. Pantaleimon the Healer. You begin focusing on them, bowing, thinking about them, and healing energy flows into your psyche. A person shouldn't live in their own shell. They shouldn't think, I can handle this on my own, everything will be fine. No, it won't be fine because fate can be harsh and crush a person. And then the person is powerless to help themselves. You need to study all this. It's a vital goal. How to maintain health, how to eat correctly. What you eat affects a lot in life. There's pure food, passionate and ignorant. There's blessed food and food that's not blessed. If a person eats food that hasn't been spiritually purified, they're actually consuming the traits and energies of everyone who prepared that food. But if the food is blessed, they absorb the energy of holiness itself. Only about 50% of food consists of the chemical components we think so much about. The other 50% is the subtle, psychic energy of the food itself, connected to the very essence of what we eat. Every food we consume is part of a living being. Meat comes from a living creature, plants are living beings too. We eat parts of life itself. So it's essential to learn what foods to eat, which to avoid, how to live right, and how to bless food so it carries divine energy, higher energy, into our lives. We must purify our relationships and develop ourselves through various practices. These are vital life goals. Without doing this daily, a person loses their strength, because time in this world works in such a way that it ages everything. Our physical bodies simply grow old, that's obvious. But do you know what happens on the subtle psychic level? Each day, the challenges grow greater. The subtle body doesn't age, but the difficulties increase. Does a small child have troubles? No, a child is happy. They have no karma yet. Purity and love flow through them. Everyone kisses their feet, loves them. Everyone adores them. But nobody kisses grandma's feet. Through her flows much karma, a heavy life, a heavy fate. As life goes on, fate piles on more and more burdens. That's why all the sacred scriptures advise us to engage more and more in self-improvement and spiritual practice as we age to counterbalance this increasing weight. People think, tomorrow my life will get better. Like in that song, tomorrow will be better than yesterday. The best song is yet unsung. The best girl, where are you? Everything's still ahead. We all want that, but life is different. The bird of tomorrow's happiness flew in, wings ringing. Choose me, choose me. But the system doesn't work like that. Tomorrow you'll probably smell worse than yesterday, because we're aging. But the soul doesn't age, that's a fact. And victory over fate means the older you get, the more you have to practice prayer and other spiritual disciplines to keep your mind balanced. Today someone told me I don't look my age, that I look younger. The reason is prayer. People age in the heart, not the body. I know friends who look young even at 70. The truth is, people age energetically and mentally. They accept that they're done, and that's the heavy part. You have to stay young at heart. That requires certain practices, prayer, purifying the mind, and physical routines too. Cold therapy releases tension, life's heaviness, and the chill from the body. Heat releases tension too, but in a different way. Cold cleanses while heat and sun relax. It's important to know when to use each practice in your life. These are vital life goals. If a person neglects these and focuses only on work and home, just maintaining life, eating, working, keeping up the house, they'll burn out soon. Living like that is impossible. You need to dedicate time to these things, learning how to live well and improve your life. Self-work, daily care for your mental and physical health, that's something you must do every single day. Studying the laws of a happy life and the laws of the universe.
What if I miss a day?
No big deal. When I had a toothache, I couldn't do yoga either.
What if I skip my prayer?
Don't skip prayer though, because if you skip once, you'll want to skip again, and soon you'll forget what you were even praying for. There's another vital goal you need to set, fulfilling your family and social duties. A husband should smile, forgive his wife, and tolerate her moods. A wife should nod along, so her husband feels like the head of the family. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.